This car came to the yard ready just to go for sale. It was clean, it had loads of MOT and ready to go. Or so I thought. Didn't take long before the head gasket went on it. So this is in here now, awaiting a fix-up. But that's not what I'm going to do today. I'm going to be doing something else. Instead, first I'm going to fix this. Let's not get this mixed up with Kenneth, because it's not Kenneth. This car is not Kenneth. Just looks the same. This car is owned by Cat Beaumont, and Cat, I think, is an abbreviation for catastrophe. Jobs in the yard, jobs in the yard. This Rover 75 diesel needs an alternator because it's not working. That's a bit of a tricky job on one of these because you've got to take the front end off. It also needs the rear brakes sorting out, the discs, the pads, and something else. The dashboard is permanently lit up like the proverbial Christmas tree. It needs back plates, it needs a hub on one side, and more than that, it needs a solution to the lock-in wheel nut problem. That's where I'm going to start. This is the lock-in wheel nut key. It's the correct one, but it's worn out, and the wheels have been done up by somebody's high-powered ugga-dugga gun. Not a good idea. So this slips. It's not the kind of wheel nut you can just knock a socket on around the edge. So that means, let's see how badly it slips first. What am I doing? Ah, I see. This may well work. That's been hammered into there. Yep, it does. It slips on the inside. Cock budgies. And so it is the next day. Back to the same problem. That lock-in wheel nut. Possible solutions. Welding a nut on it, but I don't think I can do it because the welder that I have here won't have the penetration. Plus there's always the possibility of damaging the wheel. Next door might be able to do. One of those things that are a bit like a socket that are designed to go over the top of the actual locking nut itself. Maybe one of those. Maybe they've got one next door. I've got the correct tool from next door to get this off, or at least as correct as you can get. So with this tool, if it doesn't come off, then it's because I am completely useless. You don't need to agree so loudly. Stick it on the hole, stick that in there. Yeah. Stick that in there, hammer away until it comes off. Okay. Oh, you shit. Third time, another couple of knocks. Oh, that's the wrong size now. Oh no good. Right, 19. Me, that's tight. Oh, I've done it. Yes. Yes. Got you, you evil bastard. Right. Just gonna knock that out now. got it off using the big vise. Well, look at this thing. The disc is almost worn right the way through, and the pads are, well, they're not pads, they're just the metal plates that were there originally. Let's talk about the brakes on the Rover 75, shall we? Well, of course it is just a disc, a caliper, pads, a retaining clip and a carrier. The sliders on this side were done up way too tight. The retaining screw for the disc was done up way too tight. Because of the way the rather clever suspension's designed in here, it means that top one there is really difficult to get to because of this, that's in the way. So you can't get a full-size socket on it. A 12-point spanner will round off. The only option is a 1/4 inch and a hammer. It's not designed to be hammered, this, but it's the only solution. Okay. The next job on Rosie the Rover 75, and I know it's not for me to say this, but I'm going to do anyway. I don't think this car suits this name. Rose is too nice a name for this car, but this is just a bit. What bloody hell's that? Yes, the alternator. There's no output from the alternator, so that needs replacing, which is a bit of an awkward job, to be honest. It's a bit of an awkward, grotty job, where if you look where the alternator is on the Rover 75 diesel, you'll see that it's down there. So what are the chances of me pulling it out from the top? Not very good. What about underneath? Jack it up, put it on the ramps, do it from underneath. No. The easiest way is to just pull the whole front end off. As daft as that sounds, pull the whole front end off, then you've got access to it all. Right, here goes. That means the arch liners need removing from both sides, the under tray taking off, and then the bolts along the top all removing, separating from the front wings and then pulling forward and off. Disconnecting the fog lamps, and then that should be okay. But that's not okay, that's not it. Then we need to remove the slam panel, and then the radiator, and then possibly even the power steering pump. There's quite a few bits to this. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to just time lapse it. So now the only thing left in the way of the alternator is the rad pack. Yes, the rad pack. That is the radiator, the aircon radiator and the intercooler, all joined up by pipes and more stringy bits everywhere that will ensure my dabs will get super grubby. I can't say as I'm enjoying this as much as the brakes, but it needs to be done. Maybe I should have a cup of tea to help, and an egg. At last, a clear view of the alternator. But what I still don't really know is how you get it off just yet. I have taken off the alternator from an M47 before, but that's whilst the engine was out of the car. It's a lot easier that way. I see it now. I see where the tensioner is, and it's worthwhile saying that it's not going to get any easier, because we'll take a look. There are two bolts that hold the alternator in place. Hopefully they're threaded from this side, and then the tensioner, I think, is that thing there that you can't quite see, just under there. So now looking at this, I'm glad I didn't start it the other day when I only had a couple of hours left, because apparently a 24mm open-ended spanner can do that if it doesn't round. But open-ended spanners always round. And looking at the nut itself, or the bolt, or whatever it happens to be, it doesn't look like it's particularly sharp on the edges. So that means I'm going to have to go to the effort of taking that front wheel off and removing the engine mounts and hoping it will drop down low enough so I can get to it like that instead. I'm going to be honest here, I wish I hadn't started this. Actually, I think the trouble is it's just so congested here that I think I made the mistake. What I should have done is move that old press release car and just bung the 75 there instead. So I might just nip a few bits back together so it can just be moved. Why am I all blurry? I'm really blurry. I bet I've got oil all over my screen, haven't I? It's the sensible thing to do. Just put it back together and then turn it around and stick it there instead. Much better because I'm not stuck in. If I need to pop out, I can. And of course the power steering pump is in the way of the bolts holding the alternator on. Isn't that just perfect? Look, I've done a diagram of what some call the serpentine belt. So there's the bottom pulley, there's the alternator, there's the power steering, there's something else, and one of these is the tensioner. It's worthwhile doing a diagram just in case the belt falls off altogether and you find yourself thinking, how do you figure this puzzle out? Well, you do a map first. Apparently there aren't really any instructional videos on how to do an alternator on an M47 engine. Why? Oh why? Did they design it in such a way where that tensioner would have that amount available to get a grip on, and only with an open-ended spanner? Open-ended spanners are the worst tools ever. Nobody gets any joy with an open-ended spanner, so why did they do it? I've decided to stand in front of the skip because it might be appropriate for talking about the BMW M47 engine. Rover needed a diesel engine for the 75 and BMW were like, yeah, we've got one. Yeah, well, you could use this one. We won't give you much power. And it's not really designed for a front wheel drive car, but bung it in and we'll see what happens. That's the belt off without doing anything to the tensioner. 3 bolts holding the alternator in place, slackened off. One of them out, that one, this one here, it goes out as far as that and won't come out any further. That is just a piss take. How did it get in there in the first place? I must be missing some sort of magic trick you have to employ in order to pull that bolt out of a hole where there's nowhere for it to go to. I knew right from the start this might be just a little bit of a ball ache, but this is a special one. Now, at 4:30, I have the replacement alternator in place. The only trouble is, none of the bolts want to line up, and I've been jiggling for ages. Jiggling those bolts for ages. It's exceedingly frustrating because you think, put it in place, put the bolt in, that's it. That's all you need to do. Right, there we go. That's the alternator fitted, belt back on and working, which is fabulous. But I can't take all the credit because my friend David Tomlinson happened to be just passing by, and so he just called in, knowing I was struggling with this, and it made me feel better because he said it's just a pig of a job. Nobody likes doing these, and it doesn't take an hour and a half, it doesn't take 3 hours, it can take you all bloody day, and you don't even feel like you achieve anything. But bless that lovely man for just popping by. He managed to get the locators in, he got the belt on, so it's just down to me to get the rest of it back together now. Right, so let's finish the job off tonight. Finish it off. I can finally have something to eat. I've had nothing to eat all day. Silly, hungry, silly. Need to get the job finished off. I want a successful video, you see.
There's leaks everywhere.
I don't need more. Fixed! Fixed. Fixed. I think I can now go back to the idea of this head gasket job being the next one to do. And I really do need to sell this motor as well. So if anybody's interested, do let me know. And now it's time for me to go home. In a car that nobody on this channel has seen yet. That's right, there's a new car to talk about. And I'm not going to show it to you. You're going to have to wait for the next adventure video, which I shall try and edit tomorrow. It was a long one. An adventure with a Allegro man again. So be prepared for something rather exciting and something very, very good. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks for being a channel member. Thanks for liking the video. Thanks for commenting. Just general thanks. See you in the next one. Unfortunately, this story doesn't end there. And it wasn't quite the happy ending that was expected. Because a couple of hours later, I had a message saying that the car's broken down. But it wasn't the alternator this time, or anything to do with anything I'd done. The fuel pump had given up.